Good Tuesday morning and welcome to Mindful Movement with AARP Alabama. I am your host, Margie Curry, and today's session is with our certified yoga instructor, Becca Impello, who has been practicing and teaching yoga for more than 20 years. Now, we want to remind you, don't forget, AARP empowers people to choose how they live as they age. AARP is a nonpartisan 501c4 organization that has over 420,000 members in Alabama. AARP's role is to advocate for those 50 plus and their families. AARP Alabama is committed to offering opportunities for you to stay engaged from your home. The Mindful Movement series provides an opportunity for you to keep moving in the safety of your own home. Hey, Becca, how you doing this morning? You're not too hot, are you?
Well, we had a little break from the heat last week, but a lot of rain, and now I know it's getting hotter again. But so far,
right.
Okay. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, John. Stay cool. Thanks. What do you have for us today?
Well, Margie, today I thought we would focus on the legs, on the lower extremities. So we'll do some things to warm them up, and then we'll do several of the classic yoga standing poses that really emphasize work with the legs, both lengthening them and strengthening them, and just kind of getting that good solid foundation in our legs for our other daily movements.
Sounds great. Always need that neck movement.
Yeah.
Folks, please remember to consult with your physician before you begin any exercise routine to make sure that it is safe for you to participate. Okay, Becca, you can take it away.
All right. So today, we always use a chair as our, sort of our base prop. That gives us lots of options. We can sit if we need to. We can hold on to it when we're standing if we need to. We can use it for balance. Sometimes it's even just a good prop for all of us for a certain stretch or a certain position. Today, I've also pulled out my yoga blocks, and these are pretty, common these days in exercise routines or just people doing yoga. So you may have a yoga block, and today I'm just going to have them handy so that I can show some places where our standing poses, you might use a chair or you might use a block, or in case where you don't have either one or you're sort of in between those two, you don't have to use anything. These are just options to have. So I've got my blocks handy, and I might just be showing some things with them a little later on, but they're not a requirement. If you happen to have a yoga block or two in your own, place and space there, bring them out and bring them close so that you can use them if you want to. All right, like I said, we're going to focus on the lower extremities today. Certainly our legs are pretty important. They help us get up and down from our chairs all day long. They help us walk, climb stairs, all that kind of important movement and being upright. So we're going to really give them a bit of attention today. So let's start by just taking a few breaths. Sitting tall in your chair, making sure your feet are flat on the ground. You can have shoes on, by the way. I tend to do my practices barefoot. That's what I'm used to. If you want to keep your shoes on, no problem. You can have them on as well. All right, now I'm just going to let my hands settle onto my thighs and my feet really settle into the floor. I'm also bringing my awareness to my sit bones, my hips there on the seat. You can close your eyes here if you want. Start to notice your breathing. And each time you exhale, I want your exhales to take your awareness into your legs, your hips, thighs, knees, all the way down to your feet. Inhale, you might just think about sitting up a little taller in the spine. Exhale, feel that groundedness, that solidness, that strength in your legs. Let's embody a sense of strength in our body, right? That helps us to actually be stronger when we think that we're stronger, when we think strong thoughts about our body or certain areas of the body. So let's take about 5 more breaths. Inhale, just take a nice full breath in. As you exhale, send that message of strength and stability to your legs, your feet. Two more breaths. One more big breath in and out. All right, now let's start with warming up down at our feet. I want you to pick up your toes, pick up the fronts of the feet, and then lift up onto your toes, bringing your heels up. So we're rocking back and forth. Heels up, toes up, back and forth. Now we'll do this again in standing when there'll be a whole lot more load on our calf muscles and our ankles. But for now, we're warming up. So we're just trying to be aware of it. Put your mind, your attention into the place in the body that we're moving. All right, now pick up one foot and circle that ankle around. This is a good opportunity to use your vision. Open your eyes and watch that circling. Go the other direction. All right, let's do the other foot. Pick it up, circle. Watch that movement. Go the other direction. Okay, now let's move up to do a little movement for the knee. So go back to that first leg and bend and straighten at the knee. Again, you could even put a hand on it, put your eyes on your knee, put your awareness in that knee joint. Go slow enough that you're using your muscles to push and pull. Slower also gives the brain more time to be connected and to perceive what's happening in that area of the body. And it's perceiving not just on our conscious, level of awareness, but your unconscious, your subconscious levels of brain, processing are also observing what's happening here in your knee. All right, let's switch sides. Again, slow, aware, pay attention, maybe touch, look. All right, good. Now we're going to move up to the hips. Sit tall. Feel free to hold on to the sides of the chair if you want a little more stability or support. All right, we're marching. We're trying to march without leaning back or rolling back, right? Just moving at the hips. If you don't need that hold or that support from the chair, you could take your arms out to the side and up. Now let's take this and add another direction. Pick it up and pull it out to the side. Pick it up and bring it back in. As if you're stepping, picking that leg up and over like your yoga block if you had one, all right? That you're trying to clear something there. Again, you're trying not to roll back. You're trying to just make this movement at the hip joint. If your arms get tired, feel free to drop them down. All right, let's leave them wide. Open one, open the other. All right, and now take the knees and try to squeeze them in towards one another and then push them out wide. All right, again, we're trying to warm up, loosen up the hips, put your awareness in that area that's moving and all the sensations that are there. All right, now turn a little bit to the side and take one leg out to the side. So now I've got my two legs kind of at 90-degree angle, and I've got one facing forward and one is over to the side. And it's this one that's forward that we're going to be doing stuff with. We really just want to get that other one out of the way. All right, again, you can hold on to your chair whenever needed. This front leg, I'm going to try to swing my lower leg and foot almost like it was a pendulum, right? Trying to keep my knee, thigh straight ahead, not lifting it really, and just swinging. This is maybe a hard movement, right? Maybe your body's not used to making this movement of rotation in the hip, or maybe not used to making it in this particular way. So it's okay if your movements are pretty small. My movements aren't particularly huge, and it could be that yours are even a little bit smaller, but we're trying to wake up all these muscles. You probably start feeling them by now around the hip joint that do rotation. Last 3, 2, last 1. Good. Now let's bring it around the other way. So just take everything to the other side of the chair. Again, we've got about that 90-degree split or opening for the legs. It's the front one that we're going to start swinging like that pendulum. Remember, you can hold on. Good. A couple more times. Remember, it's always okay to stop early if your body kind of fatigues or give you the signal that it's done. 3 more. Or it's always okay to skip something if you just not sure it's right for you, or you don't feel like you're, doing it, the right way, maybe. Anything that you need to skip is perfectly okay. All right, let's bring it back to center. All right, now we're going to make a transition and do some of our things in standing, but we're going to use this transition as another opportunity to work on strength in our legs. All right, and this is going to be sit to stand. We're going to try to come up from the chair all the way to a stand and then slowly sit back down. Now, if it's hard for you to come all the way out of a chair without any armrest or it's in that repetitive way, I'm going to give you an option where you don't come all the way up. Right? So let's first just all get to the front of the seat, feet kind of pull back behind your knees, and then lean forward. You could have the hands on the thighs if you need that extra support. You could have your arms out in front, or just anywhere that you need. If you need to push on the chair, you can. I'm going to lean forward and start to push, push, push. Now, if you can come all the way up, come up. If you can only come up a little bit, come up a little bit. If you need to stay in the chair but simply push, you can do that. Now I'm going to sit back down slowly, softly. All right, and then repeat. So again, maybe you're leaning forward and push. Maybe you stay here and just push, 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 or come all the way up. Sit back and down slowly. All right, let's keep that going. Remember, you can decide how many is the right number for you to do. It might be fewer or it might be more. Lean, push, rise. Slowly sit back down. I'm going to do 3 more. You can come along with me or sit and rest for a few, or maybe stay up standing. Last 2. And 1 more. I'm going to stay up. So we're going to come all the way up now and stay up standing. All right, very good. Now, I'm going to put this chair over to the side. And again, it could be useful for some of us for something to hold on to. I'll be showing some options with the block as well. But we're going to start with our heel raises. We did them seated in the chair. All right, now we're going to go up on those tiptoes and then try to rock back on the heels and maybe touch that chair for a little help with balance if needed. Now, when I rock back, that's kind of the harder one for balance, I find, right? Because I'm trying to avoid bending at my hips, right? Trying to keep the rest of my body in a nice straight line. Feel those feet, ankles, calf muscles. 3 more. 2. 1. All right, now our first standing pose for those legs is warrior. All right, so I step back with my right leg, have my left leg forward. I'm going to bend that left knee. All right, push into the back heel. All right, square those hips as best you can to the front leg. You might want to get your feet a little wider. That might help you turn those hips. All right, now I'm going to push into those legs and just make them nice and active, nice and long and engaged, like I'm pushing the floor away to help me reach up taller. And if you'd like, you can raise those arms overhead for a nice reach. Good, now just take a couple breaths here. Again, send that message through your body that your legs are strong. Two more breaths. All right, step in. Feel free to use the chair for some support as we transition. We take the left leg back, have the right foot forward. All right, again, I'm going to bend into that right knee, really push that left leg straight and down into that heel. Square up the hips as best I can, right? Don't go past anything that feels, uncomfortable in your body. Now turn the hips towards the front leg. Really lengthen those legs. We should have a nice, bit of tone in this back glute, that buttock muscle right there. All right, send that message to your legs that they are strong. And then if you'd like to add arms, they could reach overhead. Another option is hands at the heart, or maybe you're holding on to your chair. All right, and then let's step it in. All right, our next one is going to be Warrior Two. This involves taking the legs out wide. This is going to be one where you have the option to maybe use the block. So I'm going to turn my chair so that it's sideways. That way I could either use the chair or the block, depending on which height works best for my body. All right. It also could be that you're using the back of the chair, or you may decide not to go to that position at all. You might decide to stay in the more upright position. All right. So I've got those wide feet. I can hold on to the chair if I need some stability. Let's turn the leg that's farther away from our props, from our chair and our block. Let's turn that leg toes in a little bit, leg in a little bit. All right, and then turn the other leg, the one that's closer to your props, turn those toes out. Knee is turned out, toes are turned out. All right, now where will your pelvis be? Your pelvis, your hips are probably going to be on some kind of diagonal, right? Not trying to turn them or square them to the side. That's going to pull that front knee in too much. All right, so I want that front knee to push out. And in fact, I want to make sure I've got that glute, that buttock muscle on this front leg, squeezing and tucking under a little bit. I try to sink down into that thigh bone as much as I comfortably can and push into that back leg. Again, legs are strong. Send that message through your body. Take the arms if you want and reach them out, or maybe you're holding on to your chair. All right, in just a moment, we're going to do that option to drop your hand down to your leg, the chair, or the block. 2 more breaths here in our Warrior Two. Strong legs. Really push and activate those legs. Each time your awareness comes back around to them, give them a little more oomph. All right, now here's where we go into side angle is what this is called. You could put your hand or your elbow on your thigh. You could be using your chair, or you could have your block. Some people like the block behind the leg. Some people like the block in front. It could be either way. All right, so that's an option. And then this top arm, you could keep that top arm just reaching out at an angle, or you can take it up and over the head. All right, now come back to that focus on your legs. Can you still push that front bent knee? Push it out, squeezing that buttock, tucking it under. Long leg that's further back there. Push it nice and straight into that outer edge of the foot. 1 or 2 more breaths. And then bring it on up. Turn those feet. Step, walk it in. Take a little pause. Now, you could easily just turn around and face the other direction. Keep all your stuff right here. I want to keep facing the chair, the video, the camera. So I'm going to just switch my stuff over here to the other side. So just make sure you switch legs. So Warrior Two, other side. So turning the far leg, toes in, turning that closer leg, toe and knees out, and bend into that knee. Remember, your pelvis is going to be on some kind of a diagonal. Focus on pushing that bent knee out, scooping that buttock, that hip under. Good. Strong legs. Send that message down into your legs. Push them into the floor. See if you can sense a little bit of a rebound. As you push down, do you get a little more lift? Do you feel like you're a little bit taller? 2 more breaths here. All right, we're going to go for that side angle pose next. So we have a couple of options. You can lean into the leg. You could take it to the chair. You could take it low enough to use a block. All right, that top arm can go into a number of different angles. You could keep it on your hip. You could take it sort of in the same line as your bottom arm, or you could take it into a line with the side body and the back leg. And then come back to focus on your strong legs, that bent knee, so pushing out. 2 more breaths. And then come on up. Let those arms drop. Maybe you're holding on to your chair. Turn the feet. Walk it in. All right, now let's stand a moment in mountain pose. This one's fairly simple, less complex in terms of the position of your body than those others that we've done, but still a pretty powerful pose for awareness and for, recognizing and calling on the strength of your legs. So stand with your feet as close to parallel as you can, so toes forward. You can be apart or close together. All right, push into the feet, draw up your thighs, your kneecaps, right? Squeeze down with your buttocks a little bit. Stand tall. Take another breath in and out. Send that message of strength to your legs. All right, now we're going to practice chair pose next. Chair pose is simply what it sounds like. It's like you're sitting in an imaginary chair, or for some of us, it's maybe more of a bar stool, not quite so low down. It's similar to the up and down from the chair that we started with. So bend the knees, bend the hips, and sit back. You can let your arms come in front, or you can place them on your thighs. You could hold on to your chair. There's a number of different options for those arms. I'm turning to the side just so you can see. I'm trying to get my weight back as much as I can, right? Just because that loads our thigh and glute muscles a little bit more. One more breath. And we're going to come back up to mountain pose. Straighten up, stand tall, push those feet into the floor, draw the thigh muscles up, draw the buttock muscles down. Let's try that chair pose again. So sit back and down, get that weight into the heels. Send that message of strength into your legs, your feet, your knees, your hips. Come on back up to mountain pose. Stand tall, activate those legs again. We're going to do our chair pose one more time. And then we've got two more other standing poses that we're going to work on. All right, chair pose one more time. Sit back and down. Maybe you try to sit a little lower. Maybe you try to not go quite as low. You have to judge what's the right direction to challenge yourself. And then up again. Drop those arms down. All right, now the next pose that we're going to do is called triangle pose. It's got some similarities to warrior two, the second one that we did. So I'm going to step back out wide. I got my chair and my block over here that I can use if I want to. All right, again, I'm going to turn the leg that's farther away from the chair a little bit in. Turn the leg that's closer to my props out, just like we did before, except this time that front knee, we're going to straighten it. Pelvis is still on that diagonal. I'm still trying to turn this thigh out, right? Because sometimes the knee wants to fall in. I got to squeeze that buttock over here and tuck it under. It's a little harder to feel in triangle. So if you need to bend that knee, come back to your warrior two setup. You can get that buttock scooping under and then try to straighten the knee. All right, arms can come out or you can keep them down. You can hold on. We're tilting forward at this hip crease. And again, you've got some choices. You can go to the block. You can go to the chair, or maybe you're on the high part of the chair. You can go to the low part of the chair. You could go down to your block. And if none of those seem about right, maybe you stay with your hands on your hips or that front hand on your thigh. Now, you do have the option to extend that top arm if you want. But let's focus on the legs. Push both feet into the floor. Draw those thigh muscles, the kneecaps up. Push that right thigh, that front leg, whether it's right or left. Turn that front thigh out. Scoop that buttock under. This may also be giving you a pretty good stretch on the inner thigh or the hamstring also. And then let's bring it up. You can bend that knee to transition. Turn the feet, step them in, turn yourself around or I'm going to switch out my props just to the other side so I can do this in the other direction. All right, feet out wide. Turn the far leg in a little bit. Turn the near leg to point out. Push that thigh out. Scoop that buttock under. We'll try to go for that straight leg when you're ready. Strong legs. Tilt in. Start to find where you want to place that hand. On the chair, on the block. We could even combine them, right? Block on the chair gives us a whole different range that we can work with. All right, option to extend that top arm. But let's come back to focus on those legs, strong legs, and that message. Push them into the floor. Pull up with the thighs. 2 more breaths. All right, and then come on up. You might bend that knee as you come up. Come back to standing. All right, great job so far. I hope those legs are feeling strong. Maybe they're starting to feel a little tired as well. That would be a good indication that you've really called on their strength. Now, the last one we're going to do is tree pose. This is also a balance posture, but it calls on the strength of our legs and especially our hips. You can certainly have your chair or wall or other item to hold on to. And I want to just tell you that the block can make a nice prop for tree pose if you have one, if you want to give it a try. I could take my foot up onto the block to give me a little height as I turn that knee out and put all my weight in my standing leg and make it strong. I can stay on that block, or after a moment, I can take that foot away from the block and onto my calf or onto my shin or even up into my thigh if I need to. All right. Now, it's okay for your foot to be on your knee as long as you're not pushing your knee out, right? If your knee is stable enough and can push into the foot, no problem with having that foot on the knee. If it's not so stable and it tends to sort of buckle or push that knee, then avoid that. All right, now maybe you have those hands coming up to the heart or reaching up and out, your choice. Send that message of strength into your legs, your standing leg especially, but also that lifted one. Squeeze, hug that hip in. 2 more breaths. All right, release. That block is there. If you're using it, it can be just a place to sort of steady yourself. Again, the block is optional. I'm just showing some ways to use it in case you happen to have that block handy in your space. All right, so I'm going to get in my other leg, standing, get the weight on it, pick up that other knee and foot and turn the knee out. I could use the block, especially if balance is a challenge. Okay, you could use the block as something as an alternative to holding on, or maybe you're using both. And find that strength in your legs. Push into that bottom leg. Grow a little taller by engaging that leg a little bit more. Up tall through the crown of the head. Strong legs. Maybe reach the arms up, or one arm if you're still holding on. And let's release it. Okay. Good work with those legs. Let's sit back down in the chair, do a couple of stretches, and wind it down because we have run out of time. All right, take 1 foot forward, heel forward if you can. If you have your blocks or any kind of box or stool or ottoman, and you feel like you could take a little more stretch, you can put your foot up on something, but the knee is straight. The toes are up. Maybe I lean into it to feel a little more stretch. If your hamstrings are a little tighter than mine, you might not need to lean forward. Good. Try to slow down your breathing here. Signal to that nervous system that we're, transitioning away from that more, strenuous or vigorous work that we were asking out of our legs. We're going to give them the opportunity now to relax. All right, same leg. Let's see if we can bring that foot and cross it, maybe up to your knee or your thigh. If that's a little too high for your hip, you can cross it down on the shin, or if you've got your block, you can turn it up tall, cross your foot over to the block And then the option is there for everybody, wherever you've got it crossed, to lean forward into it. We're trying to get some stretch in the glute and the hip here. All right, now let's switch sides. Again, you might be using your block underneath your heel if you don't have one or don't need it. Heel can be on the ground, toes up, sit tall, maybe give a little lean into that stretch. And go ahead and release. Let's do that crossed position. Figure 4 is sometimes called. So cross either, again, to the thigh or the knee or below on the shin or even down on the block. Maybe some lean into it. Two or three more slower, longer breaths. And release. All right, sit back up tall, hands on the thighs, feet on the floor. Just take 2 or 3 full breaths in and out. I hope you'll continue to carry that message of strength to your legs especially, but really to your whole body throughout the day today or whenever you feel like you just need a little bit of encouragement. Your body does respond to those kind of positive messages, all right? So let's thank AARP, thank your body for participating, and I thank you for joining us for this mindful movement session, and I hope you will come back and join us again on Tuesday mornings at 10 a.m.
And thank you, Becca, for getting our legs ready today. Kind of challenging for our balance, too.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah. We appreciate everyone for joining us. And please remember to complete the survey that will be coming to you shortly. So we love having you today. Continue to tune in on Tuesdays for Mindful Movement with AARP Alabama.
Bye, Margie.
Bye, Becca.